What has really worked for me is to try and communicate as best I can, especially in times of uncertainty, especially when things are hard. It seems like the best time to communicate with people, and it's okay to say, look, we don't know what's going on, but this is what we're trying to do. Similarly, you get my investor updates, and it's, this thing is not working, but this is what we're planning to do. And then the important thing is asking for help.
Can we talk a little? I want to talk a little bit more about Bloom, but taking almost the financial aspect to one side.
This is very Farrah Fawcett. I love it.
Okay.
Volume.
Are we scissoring?
Yeah, we're going to take a little bit of light out the front.
How have you found, and this kind of applies to any business, how have you found starting a business? Because what's been some of the, I know talent's obviously a big thing, but what's been some of the unexpected challenges, like that you were like, holy hell, I've got to suddenly do a VAT return or all that stuff?
So...
Your cash flow statement and all that.
Yeah, I do wish I had paid attention a bit more in accounting. Starting a business, I think the hardest part, and we've had conversations about this before, is the mental toll it takes, the mental health toll it takes on you as a founder. Because you are responsible, well, the way that I view it is I am responsible for mine and for other people's salaries, their pension payments. I'm, for some people, whether or not they can put food on the table. And that weighs on you. So it's something that's like, the metaphor that I shared with a friend was not that like, you're in a pool and you're kind of like doggy paddling. And it's not that anyone's trying to push your head under. It's just that someone's kind of got this constant pressure on your shoulders. And it just doesn't go away. It's like you've got your like annoying kid brother on your shoulders that's kind of like adding weight to you and making it harder for you to swim freely.
And you're wearing clothes as well that's weighing you down slightly.
Yeah, and so there's just lots of things that, and it's paradoxical if you are a venture-backed startup, there's this weird game of wanting to play it really cool, everything's great,
Sounds like starting a relationship.
Yes, exactly. You're like, look at me, I'm so great and I'm hot and everything's brilliant, but maybe things are falling apart inside and you can't, you walk a very thin line of who you can share that with. And so that has been...
Because the second you kind of, is as soon as you reveal this is all going to shit behind there, but maybe if I do this, I'll be all right. As soon as you mention that, then everyone's like, no, well, I want to,
Yeah.
So you kind of got to do, like, not a facade, but like it's, you got to wear like different masks in some ways. That's kind of a different,
isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to kind of be like,
because you've got venture money there as well behind, which is
we do,
which is kind of, it's
venture money. Explain that.
Oh, it's a different sort of pressure. It's kind of, it takes a little pressure off in some ways, but also throws a different sort of pressure on.
Yeah. So venture capital is a whole class of capital that people often use, especially in the fintech world and the tech world, where someone is making a very risky bet with the hope of an outsized return, right?
Okay.
And the very interesting thing about VC funding is you have what's called LPs, or limited partners.
Okay.
And limited partners can be everything from a pension fund, like Nest, right, to, the Met Police's pension fund, for example, or an endowment at a school. So it kind of works differently in the States, but I think there are also endowments here in the UK.
Well, do you need to do some snipping? You sure? Okay.
Which is to say that it is very fascinating to me that all of this money is being invested.
Do this. Right.
Oh God, I'm nervous.
Right.
Talk about high risk.
Do this. So
I always, because you kind of almost think of, when you think of venture capital, you think of like your big Mark Andreessens and all the big, the guys that with ping pong tables in their offices in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
They're there and they've got a load of money and they want to kind of it's almost like a high stakes, long term betting in many ways of who they think is going to win. But
it means there's a lot of pressure on you as a founder to be their outsized return, and there is a lot of expectation. We are very lucky that our investors are very, very supportive. They are very, if I explain something to them, they understand. But there can often be, this push for unrealistic growth, which we've seen can end in places like WeWork or Uber. So trying to avoid that at all costs, if we can.
The second that you start going, do you know what we need? Driverless chairs that can automatically go back under the table.
Yeah.
Then,
Not there yet.
Or an indoor surfing.
I can't. Yes, it was an indoor surfing company. I also don't take any. I've never been in a helicopter. If anyone wants to invite me on a helicopter,
Next time you're in New York,
love to do it.
$150, airport transfer with Blade from JFK to Manhattan.
Really?
And it saves you an hour and maybe costs you an extra $50 to get there.
Yeah,
this is Nigel Walsh.
Cab's like $70.
Wow.
And
Of course, Nigel would know that.
I cut Nigel Walsh's hair in Insurtech Insights in New York.
He should have said that to you, because that was.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but I felt
Me
very.
and Bradley would have 100% done that. It's very me and Bradley, isn't it?
We were in the helicopter basically telling each other to fuck off because we were doing like successioning it, and that was. I want to go back to like on this because you are you are the founder.
Yes.
In fact, you are
Co-founder.
You are the co-founder.
Yes.
Now that sort of I always tell my kid this. He's got it and he's parroting it now, but I hope he kind of understands it because I say if you're a boss, it's what does it mean? It means you're responsible for everyone. That's something that I think as you grow, that's gonna. How do you cope with that? Because you haven't just got all of these people working for you, and increasing the amount of people whose, frankly, their lives are reliant on you. You're also starting to do that with customers coming in as well, that they're reliant on you being able to, like if you're hit by a bus, then
Heaven
what
forbid.
happens there? So it's kind of, how do you deal with that kind of?
Oh gosh.
No pressure.
So, crazy thought, communication.
Yeah.
Weird. Obviously, my therapist is finally getting through to me. What has really worked for me is to try and communicate as best I can, especially in times of uncertainty, especially when things are hard. It seems like the best time to communicate with people, and it's okay to say, look, we don't know what's going on, but this is what we're trying to do. Similarly, you get my investor updates, and it's, this thing is not working, but this is what we're planning to do. And then the important thing is asking for help. So if I'm not getting it right, I will probably realize quite quickly and ask for help, which is, you have to humble yourself a bit to do that. And it's also very scary because, again, you want to kind of have that facade of everything's perfect, everything's great. But when you are dealing, especially for us in Fintech, when you are dealing with people's livelihoods, when you are dealing with their money.
Money is weirdly emotive.
It is so emotive. You can't mess it up. And so I think I take that responsibility very, very seriously.